So to celebrate International Women's Day, hey, International Women's Day isn't enough. We're going to do International Women's Month for the entire month of March. We are going to be sharing with you some of the success stories hosted by my partner Naomi, an incredible successful real estate agent in her own right, as she hosts some of the incredible female accomplishments as special guests on the next 4 episodes of Real Estate Renegades. Strap in, guys, it's going to be a treat. Bye for now. You want the normal real estate training you've been told a million times? Make cold calls, knock on doors? Best be switching off now, because in this podcast we go out of the box using unknown tactics, primarily that the real estate industry's never heard of, in order to get you called in more often, convert those listings and get more success without the painful cold calling. Listen up, we're in for a ride. This is Real Estate Renegades.
Well, welcome to episode number 32 of Real Estate Renegades podcast. I did an incredible interview with 2 very amazing women in celebration of March 8th being International Women's Day. And as you know, this month of March, we are dedicating the entire podcast to women in real estate. And by doing so, we kick off the month with 2 very amazing real estate agents in Jodie Curran and Joanne Reilly. The girls share with you the trials, the tribulations, and the successes that they've had in real estate. There is some amazing content, and these 2 women, I am very proud to not only call clients, but also now very close friends. So tune in, enjoy, and don't forget, subscribe to Real Estate Podcast updates. Welcome to episode, I think it's number 32 of Real Estate Renegades. And in celebration of March 8th, that's a bit of a mouthful, March 8th being International Women's Day, we are dedicating the podcast for the entire month of March to our women in real estate. And by doing so, we're kicking off the month with these 2 very amazing real estate agents. It's been an honour and a privilege to have been along for their journeys, for the most part, not all of it. And as both these women transformed their careers and took what were maybe average real estate achievements, I hope you're not offended by that, girls, to both now having very, very successful and very well-respected businesses on the Sunshine Coast. Jo Reilly, Jodie Curran, welcome.
Hi, how are you going, everyone?
Now, both your stories of your rise to success are very similar in so many ways, yet also very different. But what is absolutely obvious is that both of you at some point decided that whatever it was that you were doing was just not enough. So we might start with you, Jodes. Do you remember that point?
Yeah, I do. It was in 2014. I only started in real estate in 2013, late, so September. And I saw one of Glenn's advertisements come through Facebook or something, and I hadn't been to any real estate training prior to this, and I thought I need something to fast track. I don't know what I don't know, and I need some help, because I didn't want, at my age, which was late 40s then, I didn't have any money, and I didn't want to take a long time to make money and get back my financial security that I just lost through a recent separation. So I needed to go fast, and I needed somebody to help me do that. So that's when I reached out and went to the first Be Phenomenal.
It was a Be Phenomenal with Eric Thomas, and was that in what year was that? 2014.
2014, July or August 2014.
So that, I think that wasn't at the concert hall, was it? That was the.
No, it's like I want to say like Leedham, somewhere north of Brisbane.
Oh yeah, I think we did it at the. It was like a basketball court. It was actually a basketball centre that we transformed the room into a conference. It was quite amazing, actually. It was an amazing venue, and so yeah, Eric Thomas, absolutely. And who wouldn't get motivated after being there?
Yeah, exactly. Marcus Giminello was there, and yeah, it was a really good day.
Yeah, really, really good day. And Jo, for you, Dale, do you remember when it was that point where you just...
Yeah, I do actually. It was 2017. I went to a Glenn Twiddle event, and Jodie was speaking at it.
Oh, there you go.
Hearing Jodie's story and seeing Jodie for the first time for a while, because we used to work together many moons ago. And I remember thinking, wow, if she's up there talking about how successful she's going and doing, and I thought, well, there's some credibility in what these people are talking about, because I actually had put a face to a name, and I knew where she'd sort of come from. I didn't know exactly everything she'd been doing since I saw her last, but I thought, okay, well, she wouldn't be making this up. This is not a scam. and I just remember thinking, good on you, Jode. Like, I'm so glad you've done as well as you've done. And it was just a bit of a turning point, because I was working for a franchise, working for someone else. I was, like you said, an average agent, wasn't doing too badly, wasn't making bad coin, but wasn't really inspired, or just turned up to work, did my job, went home. But I don't know, that was just the energy I needed to get going and go, this is it. A bit like Jodie always says, there's no plan B. I went, I'm done just getting a wage. I've getting to the end of, not the end of my career, but I've got another 10, 15 years worth of work left. Let's make this count. Just signed up for everything. Went from one step to another. The step, kept seeing Jodie along the way doing well. I suppose, just that's where it all sort of started.
Yep, all started. And Jodes, for you, Dale, obviously you've got your two beautiful boys. Tell us a little bit about your life outside of real estate, because we know that you have a huge outside of real estate life with all the many, many things that you do, your horses, your boys, your dogs, just everything.
Yeah, so I'm a lot more balanced now than I have been in regard to the work-life balance than I have been in previous years. And that kind of ties, so anyway, I've got my, my big acreage now, which has always been the dream, horses, dogs, kids, pool got put in last week. It's just fantastic, where I've always wanted to be since I was a child, and real estate's enabled me to do that and have that financial security. So that is awesome. But I think we're going to get to a little bit later, the change in the real estate environment has created like time for me now to have more time to spend with my kids. Like, I haven't done opens for 4 months. I'm loving it. Like I just mentioned earlier to you, I've totally manifested this. This has nothing to do with COVID. Like, every summer when I have been working and my kids have been on holidays and I don't get to see them or spend time with them, I'm usually doing 3 contracts on Christmas Eve, busy as this on the Sunshine Coast at Christmas time in January. And so every year I'd say, just one summer, can we please just have a market that's list and sell? Because in my market, if you don't know, Pigeon Springs, which is mostly where I sell, the average days on market's 120, usually. Now it's instant. And I'm loving this summer. It's been awesome.
Yeah. You, Jodes, and your husband, partner, God, I always call Mark your husband, and I know that. And work-life balance for you at the moment, give us a bit of an understanding.
Probably not where Jodie's at just yet. Still doing the grind, still doing open homes. I suppose I'm still branding and making sure everyone sees me every Saturday with the flags and the pointer signs and the activity. Even I'm forcing people to wait for that first open home before they can make an offer on a property, because I'm still just constantly branding and people seeing me out there and aware, because I know that I've starting to become a household name, but I don't want to just think now, I've made it, I'm just going to settle back, because I'm not quite, I think I've still got that bit more to do to ingrain myself in everyone around here. Like work-life balance, I try to have a day off through the week. Doesn't always work. I'm still on the phone, still on the email, still contactable, but I've got staff now so they can sort of man the fort. I love going to the gym. That's something that was always on my list to do at Diamond things, and I never got to it, but I finally got to it 2 years ago. I finally bit the bullet, and now I go to the gym 4 times a week, and I go walking and stuff and make the effort. I'm just conscious of trying to balance everything, because it is a balancing act. I'm planning. That's why I'm getting more staff on board, so I can free up my time a little bit more, work myself out of the little business a little bit, so that I can, have a bit of free time.
Yeah. And also, you forgot your newest adventures that you do is 4-wheel driving.
Yes, that's right. Exactly.
Exactly. 4-wheel driving with Mike is a very.
I know. Yeah, we love going to Fraser Island and places like that. Yeah.
And we spoke off camera before we came on today about how, your careers have really sort of been not a mirror image of each other, but it's been interesting how the journey has panned out, that you are both very, very similar to what you were doing in your careers as well. And we even sort of spoke about, what has happened in the last few years for your businesses and the growth that both your businesses have had. And it was incredible that when we spoke yesterday, the growth is almost exactly the same, which I just thought to be really interesting given where you've both come from, who you've both worked for, even kind of similar areas as well. You've taken these amazing brands which have been yourselves and you've turned them into household names. Jodes, we know that you can't go to the shopping centre without being stopped and talked and, oh, you're Jodie Curran. And that is now almost exactly 12 months to the day happening for Jo as well. Jo's becoming a household name. She's getting stopped in the street. People wave to her at the traffic lights, you know, all these sorts of things that sort of happened for you maybe 18 months ago is now happening for Jo as well. So it's really interesting to see as the journey are continuing. So I suppose that kind of leads me to our, you know, for our viewers, I gave Jodie and Jo some questions that I'm sure that you all would like to know the answers to. These are questions that we've gathered from our people that watch the Real Estate Renegades podcast. So one of the questions that I had from some of the women in real estate, they said to me, who is another successful female figure who inspires you and why? Jo, we might go with you first.
I look up to Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, because I just think, wow, young lady had a baby in the first term. How the hell did she do that? But and she's so likable and approachable, and I think, and she does Facebook Lives and stuff like that. And I suppose I relate to that and go, wow, if she can do that, I can do anything. Like, she's just such an inspiration.
Yeah. Look, I think, you know, traditionally politics, no matter what side of politics you're on, whether you agree with her policies or not, to be in the political, especially with, you know, what happened in last night with Australian politics coming out of Canberra. It is a difficult arena sometimes for women to be in, and any woman that makes it to the top. I mean, Prime Minister.
Imagine having a baby at the same time.
I know. Can you imagine that?
I can't comprehend that.
I'll never forget when I gave birth, when I had Theo, and I went for a job interview to go and work for a very reputable company and somebody who I respect greatly over here in West Australia, John Kirkadani, who has Real Mark here in Perth, and it's an incredible company, he and Anita. And when I went and did my job interview with John, I had Theo with me because I couldn't leave him, and I actually had to breastfeed him halfway through my job interview. So there I was sitting on the couch, job interview with a baby being breastfed. But no, it is incredible. So Jodes, for you, successful female figure who inspires you?
So local girl, Amber Worshen, who I started with. So yeah, I just caught up with her on the phone a few weeks ago again, and so inspiring that she just does everything right. You know, there's so many dodgy agents in real estate and people that take shortcuts and do things. Everything, like, so I started with Amber, for those of you who don't know, and just everything is so compliant, by the book, correct. She's just the perfect example of doing things right in real estate. Like, and yeah, so much admiration for her because she shares her intellectual property with anyone who cares to ask her. She'll teach you, coach you, all of these things. And yeah, I had the best start possible into real estate starting with her.
Yeah, I agree. She's an amazing woman, and both Glenn and I have a huge amount of respect for Amber. I know that Glenn is just an absolute fan of Amber.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And, you know, here's a woman that started at the age of, I think it was 19 that she started.
Yeah.
And she hasn't stopped.
I think she was, 17. Yeah. She started, I think, as a receptionist at Ray White, and then, 18. Well, I think she was 17 and bought her first investment property with her mum because she wasn't 18 yet, and started on reception at Ray White. And then I think by the time she was 22, she had her own agency.
Wow. And Jo, you worked for Amber too for a period of time.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, when Jodie was there, same time. Yeah, Jodie was her PA and I was the BDM, like Business Development Manager for Property Management. And yes, and then we both left similar times. I think, I don't know if I left before you or Jodie or just after.
I can't recall either.
No, but a lot of people have come and gone in there that have done well for themselves too, haven't they?
Yeah,
But yeah, it was just fun in the day, wasn't it? Back, I think I was very new to real estate then.
Yeah.
Very new.
That was my first job in real estate, in residential real estate.
Yeah.
So what a role model to base your career on, Amber Worshen.
Yeah.
You know, incredible. And I suppose that's what comes back to it. If you're new into real estate, find somebody like Amber. Go and work for somebody like Amber. Don't just go and go and work for whoever is going to take you on. Go and find someone. I mean, you all probably know that Glenn's young eldest son, Kelvin, who is 17, finished year 12 at the end of last year, packed his stuff up, packed his entire world up, said goodbye to his mum, has moved over here to Western Australia and is now working with Tom Carlin. He and Tom made this deal 5 years ago at an event Glenn and I had 5 years ago. So Calvin was 12, you know, it was a baby, he was a kid. Yeah. And he said to Tom, I'm coming to work for you when I finish year 12. And sure enough, and he gets up every morning at 6 a.m. because we live a good hour away from Tom, a bit, just over an hour, in fact. He gets in the car, he drives down there every single day. And guess what he does virtually day in, day out? Just this. Is all he's doing. Just this.
We don't like that, do we, Jodie?
Not for me.
What Tom does with the rookies, right? So Kelvin phone calls and door knocks. He got Tom a listing yesterday. So the kid's just paid for his.
Good on him.
Yeah, I know. He's just paid for his first 6 months worth of wages, or however you want to say it. But the lessons, I suppose what we're saying here is that if you're coming into real estate, if you're new into real estate, look for somebody who can support you, that can teach you, that you can learn from. Don't just go and work for anybody. Look for somebody who is going to teach you, which is amazing. So our next question, which I suppose is kind of similar to the first one. Tell us how you manage being a mum or a partner or a wife and being a real estate agent. What's the one thing that you do to make this a whole lot easier? Jodes?
Well, I don't have a partner at the moment, so Jo, you probably better answer this one. I can tell you, if you're single, it's a whole lot easier because in real estate, there's calls at night, there's constant interruptions to your personal life, and it is, everyone out there, it's a whole lot easier when you're single. If you don't have to manage your partner and the time, if they're in real estate and they understand, it's great. But if they don't, it's a challenge.
Yeah, 100%. I do agree with that. And what about being a mum, Jode? I mean, I know your boys are amazing at understanding the demands it has on you. And even in the early days, I mean, you've raised two amazing young men that just seem to have an incredible understanding and appreciation for what you do. And in their own worlds, they're very high achievers, both of them. So I suppose, you know, I know that they weren't born with that. So what did you do to help them understand kind of the bigger picture of what you were trying to achieve?
Well, they were only 5 and 7 when I separated from my husband, and that was in the real hard graft days, you know, late nights, letterbox dropping and doing all those things. And I wasn't home a lot. Like if I had to go to an appointment, I'd go. I didn't have any staff to help, so it was all on me. And they were getting quite upset like that because it became work versus them. And I didn't want it to be that. So one day I just popped them in the car and we drove around and I showed them signs and I said, these are the reasons these people are selling. And I explained it to them in that manner, that I'm helping people, that I'm not just out doing a job, that is a job, but these people are getting divorced. These ones lost their job. They need to move away. There's all these different situations that people are moving in. And once I made it more real and just so they had a human face to put to my work as it was, it became a lot easier and they understood more. And also the fact that, I explained, where money comes from and how we get to have these things. And, that's why they wash their own clothes and do all these things themselves. I'm like, if you want clean clothes, they need to be washed.
Yeah.
I can always just explain things like that to them and, it made them have responsibility for themselves. And, and I talk about the obligation that I have to my clients. And, sadly for my children, I have to say it, and it does sound a bit awful, but the client always does come first. Yeah. And again, but again, not as much now. And I think that's the fluidity of markets and the change, because when in my normal market, which is long, long days on market, if there's a buyer that wants to come through at midnight on Sunday, I'm taking it.
Yeah.
You know what? But now, because we have a surplus of buyers and not as many properties, I'm like, no, so how we're rolling stuff now so we don't have to do opens. And oh my gosh, this is the first time in 8 years that I've had Saturdays. Like, it's just such a joy. And also because I'm different to you, Jo, because you're still moving up for the last 2 years really, I've been stepping down. And so like this is an example of how I sort of used to market, and now my face is going because I want other agents to be doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sort of trying to get myself out of it. So I don't want to be seen on Saturdays. I don't want to be doing opens.
Yeah.
And all of these things. But now the strategy, what we're doing now is we list, say on Tuesday, put it on at 5 o'clock. All the inquiry comes through on Wednesday. We book an open for the next day, and everybody comes then it sells at multiple offers.
So you do like you launch on a Tuesday.
Take inquiry on the Wednesday,
Open
the inspection on the Thursday, and we're done.
And then you're done. Yeah,
So
interesting.
that's the strategy we're rolling with at the moment. And it's very unusual that it won't go to multiple offer at that stage. If not, it sells a couple of days later. But that's what we're rolling with.
Yeah.
Very rarely do we need to even do a second inspection because people have got, fear of missing out. So they're coming, as opposed to, in 8 months ago, 12 months ago, they'd be like, no, I can only come on this day. And now it's like, if you can't come,
you're missing out.
I remember another agent once talking about it, and she just said, I have days off during the week. I work Saturday and Sunday. Oh, it's Melita Bell. And she basically said, because if they can't come to that open, it's too bad because someone else will buy it. And I remember thinking, God, imagine being in a market like that, where I'm usually chasing them up and down the coast in the car, dragging them, kicking and screaming to inspections and opens. And I'm like, God, imagine that. Now we're living it.
Yeah.
Like that's our market now.
And Chris Gilmore is a big advocate of not doing home opens anymore as well. So I suppose,
cool.
But he's, again, he's at a different level than
Exactly. When you're starting off, you need that branding. You need to be doing it.
Yeah. So I think that's the other thing for everybody to understand, that there's not a wrong and a right way.
No.
It's where you are in your career, what you can manage, but never, I suppose the only caveat on that would be don't close your eyes to other opportunities. Don't just have to do it that way. You do it according to what you are, what you want to do. And Jodes, I suppose the one thing that just warms my heart whenever I see your boys is that they are incredibly proud of their mum.
They're so cute.
They are.
Just this morning, I'm like, get out of the bathroom. We've only got one bathroom in the house. I'm like, I need to do some makeup today. And John goes, why, Mum? I said, I've got a podcast. I've got a Zoom thing on at 9 o'clock. He goes, Mum, you're always beautiful. I don't need to do anything.
That's
I'm like,
cute.
I love you.
That's cute.
I've trained them well.
So when he gets a girlfriend, we all need to approve.
Oh my gosh. They're going to be very lucky girlfriends.
That's right. Yeah. So we need to make sure that she's good enough for him.
I know, right?
And we all need to approve. Yeah. Might get her on a podcast and just drill her a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
And Joe, for you, Dale, all your kids are older, so they're kind of off your hands. They're not, they're kind of still your responsibility. But I know also that they appreciate how hard that you work all the time. They probably appreciate that they're really happy that you've taken it out of the house and into the office now.
Yeah, for sure. yeah.
So, it is it's an incredible, having kids and managing real estate. Jodes, I know we laughed at the whole, it's easier when you're single. If you don't have a partner or a husband who understands what you do, and that's the same for the blokes. If the blokes don't have a partner or a wife that understands what they do, real estate's tough. Can be a shitty industry sometimes. Like, you guys get up every day, and I think it was Xavier that termed this coined this term, that you get up and you get punched in the face. And, it happens, especially in the early days of your career, and you do need that support at home for somebody to understand sort of the dog eat dog that real estate can be at times, not always, but can be. So interesting. Let's move on. Next question that we had. We know how important personal branding is in the real estate world, but what do you do specifically? I know this probably, Jodie, you might have to think back 18 months ago, but what do you do specifically to stand out from the rest of the agents in your area? Joe, we might go to you first.
Obviously the hot pink colour helps because I've worked for other brands where they've been very bland sort of colour schemes, black and white, the majority of the colours, and they're not very fond of you branding yourself on the signboards and things like that. It's all about the brand that you work for. So obviously the first thing I did when I decided to design my business or my marketing material was to completely go opposite to what everyone else was doing. So the hot pink, my face on everything. Not that I want my face on everything. Some people probably think I love myself or whatever, but I don't. I cringe sometimes when I look at stuff, and I just go, oh, well, at least it's working because everyone recognises me. So all that sort of, I suppose it was nice to have that freedom of not being told what style guide I need to use. I know you can't use this. When you do a letterbox drop, you have to follow these guidelines. All that's really helped to brand our business. And yeah, everyone just remembers you. It's the face that's the main thing, being on everything.
Definitely. And look, I think people underestimate how important it is, because as humans, we remember faces way before we remember people's names. And it's really important to make sure that branding is. Jodes, over to you. And look, I want also everybody to know that Jodie and Jo have both had massive billboards in their area as well. What? Massive billboards in their areas as well, that I think has also helped. Jodes went out on a limb one year when she was speaking with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Michelle Bridges and a whole heap of, and she put that up on a billboard, which I think Twiddle just loved. Jodes. I mean, I think he might have even had wet dreams over that billboard, I reckon.
I saw it again the other day, and I just remember speaking. So for those of you who don't know, I was doing a speaking gig. Arnold was there, and I had regular billboards from 2015 because I wanted to reach people that didn't know me, that were out of the area, that had no junk mail in the letterboxes and all of those. So I thought, what can I do? So I saw this billboard. So I started doing billboards, and because I did them regularly, the company would sometimes call me and say, Jode, I've just got a filler board here. Do you want to just do something for a month, or just put one of your other skins up, something like that? I go, yeah, sounds good. Let's do that. And I called and said, there's one on the Bruce Highway. Australia Zoo usually have it, but where they're doing road works, and it's going to come down so you can have it for 3-4 weeks or something like that. But it's massive, it's huge, so you've got to do a skin. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. So I just got a photo of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Michelle Bridges, who are also speaking at the same event, not with me, but at the same event. And Glenn was most horrified about was the fact that I made myself bigger than Arnold and Michelle Bridges. So it was like, Jodie's here. It was like they were my support act. Yeah, probably a bit cheeky. But anyway, and that got me on ABC radio. Then the TV channel started calling me to do when they wanted somebody to speak about things. And that launched a huge amount of clients that I hadn't heard from for years were calling me, oh my gosh, what's going on? He's speaking with Arnold. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's awesome, isn't it? And I was at the same event, but yeah. So
at the same event.
Yeah, I've actually stopped last year the billboards for the first time. So I did them from 2015. So for 5 years, I had my regular spot on a billboard. And because I wanted to take a step back and really train other agents and have other agents doing it, so I've taken myself off, my signs and things like that, because I want it to be the brand, not me, and build others. Hasn't really worked out, being honest. So I'm probably going back on everything. Cause it's just hard. Staffing, I'm sure we'll get to, is a challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started with the billboards, but now I do these magazines. So we've got a local company, and they deliver these in the 3 main areas that I sell in. So I'm always just on the back cover. So there, again, this is one now with me off it. That was one with me on. And they get delivered to, oh my gosh, I think it's like 11,000.
Wow.
Go out a month. And for what I pay, it's just awesome, because you know how hard it is, everyone, to find reliable letterbox droppers and all of that.
Yeah.
So I went off the billboards, and now I'm just on the magazine. So these get hand delivered, and it's a good little news magazine. This is Pigeon Springs News. There's Eastern Beaches and there's Coolum Beaches, and they deliver them for me.
So they just have these magazines, Jodes, that you advertise on the back and the front. Is that what they
Correct,
are?
yeah. So it's an independent magazine company, advertiser, and I just have the back page.
Yeah, I have them delivered to mine. I know the ones you mean. So would it be fair to say, I get asked this question often, well, what did Joanne Reilly, or what did Jodie Curran, or what did Chris Gilmore do to get to where they are today? And my standard answer generally to them is they did everything.
Yeah.
Would that be a fair answer to that question? What did they do to get successful? What marketing pieces did they do? Because there's never one marketing piece that revolutionizes your career. I mean, billboards are probably something that just, can step it up a few levels pretty quickly, but it's short-lived. It doesn't it's not going to revolutionize your career or make 20 listings drop in your lap. But would it be a fair answer to the question, well, what did they do? Well, they did everything.
Yeah, you need to become omnipresent in your area. You need to be on the signboards, on the directionals, have the branded vehicle, on a billboard. You need to be seen to be everywhere. I'll tell you what neither of us did do. I don't know, I'm pretty sure you did Joe's door knock. So that's something that's not in alignment with myself. So that's something I'll never do.
Yep. And that's okay.
I wanted to build an attraction brand, so I did everything. So I don't prospect, I brand.
Yep.
So that's it. And from the billboards and, like I said, things like that, then you get on the radio, then you get on the TV, and all of it just builds from there. But you have to be seen. And even, yesterday when we had a private inspection, a guy said, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I know you still. I kind of see your face everywhere." And it hasn't been anywhere for 12 months. Like, it's off all the signboards. I haven't got my branded vehicle anymore. Like, I've tried to disappear. And he said, and he was current. He said, "I see you everywhere."
Yep. Oh, lost
but I'm nowhere now. So he's just remembering that.
Yeah. And Joe, I suppose for the two of you, a lot of agents are very scared to invest money into that prospecting and that branding. What advice, and I know this is definitely not a question that we've had, but I think it's an important one to cover off on, because many, many agents are scared to invest money into their businesses, to invest money into marketing. What do you say to that, Jodes? I know what you did. What do you say to that, Joe? Maybe we'll start with you first.
Me? So I suppose you do have to go in boots and all. You do have to spend money on marketing. And you can sit there and go, if I spend, X amount on the billboard, what am I going to get back? How many listings do I need to get back? Whatever. But I don't look at it that way. I suppose it was all just part of the branding itself. You know me, Naomi, I'm not a very good numbers person. No. I just keep grinding and working and plugging away. But that billboard has certainly would have paid for itself a million times, I believe. Like, you don't get direct business from it, but you get just that constant recognition, like Jodie said, where everywhere you go to an open home or whatever, and people come in and go, "Oh, I feel like I know you. You're everywhere," And I used to hear people talk about that at the events, Chris and Jodie and those sort of people, and go, "Really?" And then now it's happening to me, and I go, "It's so true." But you've got to invest you've got to spend money to make money, and not be scared. Like, I know I've got a good supportive partner, Mike, which you were talking about before. He's probably more gung ho on spending than I am. Sometimes I want to hold back on spending and go, "Oh, is this going to be worth it?" Whatever, and he'll just go, "Nah, let's just do it. If we have to get a credit card to do it, we'll do it," whatever. We don't sort of have to worry about that now. But in the early days, when I secured that billboard, I wasn't ready for the billboard financially. I didn't have the money for it, but we made the money for it. We just sort of had to keep coming up with that money each month. And now it's like, I think, do I get rid of it yet or don't I? And then it's like, not getting rid of it yet. I probably will, like Jodie, at some point. But right now, I think it's still critical. It's still critical to keep spending a portion of your income on marketing. Just keep it going.
Yeah, definitely. And Jodes, we know when you sort of made that decision all those years ago that you were going to, this was it. It was this, the highway, or you were going to get out of real estate kind of thing. And we know you took that leap, which just took just kahunas the size of coconuts. I've got no money. I'm single. I've got to support two kids, but you know what? I'm just doing this. So give us a rundown. I know I probably just summed that up pretty quickly, but.
So, had no money, ex-husband cleaned out the accounts, struggling to support the kids, just to feed them, clothe them, and I be successful fast. I didn't want to drift along for a while. So I put the money that I needed for the training on 3 credit cards, maxed them all out. But that's the beauty of real estate. I just think I've just got to sell 3 more houses. Yeah. And, a friend once said to me, if your child's life depended on it, would you go and list a property today? So for all these agents saying, "I've got no listings, I can't get anything, blah, blah, blah." If someone you love's life depended on it, you would get a listing
100%
today. People just don't. I was desperate.
Yeah.
So I was just trying everything and working in my butt off.
Yeah, working. And what Jodie
Yeah.
said there is that she was
Hold
working
on.
her butt off. Yeah, a little bit. We're still losing you, a bit sketchy. So what
Yeah,
Jodie was saying
well,
is that there was no plan B for her. She was just going to work her ass off. She was desperate. Like there was just, she put herself into the frame of mind where it had to happen and it was going to happen. And it did, there was just no plan B, right, Jodes?
Yeah, I've heard her say it before many times
correct.
today.
Yeah.
So, Joe, let's move on, Dale. What? Let's go to this question. What is the best marketing tip you've ever received? Like, what would have been the best marketing that you ever received?
The best. Oh, I'm probably going to repeat myself a bit here, but focus on making me the attraction agent. When I heard Jodie talking about it at an event, because I hate door knocking and cold calling. I'm a very subtle sort of person in a way. Like, I'm very intuitive and I'm friendly and approachable, but I don't really I'm not a pushy salesperson. Yep. So when she talked about being an attraction agent, it really appealed to me. Also, because I'd worked for Amber Worsham, she was all about branding herself and she did a very good job of it. And I took a lot of that away when I left there, like the way she put herself out there and put her name on everything. And, everyone could relate to her and see her, and she was approachable. And I sort of took a lot of that away and what Jodie had to say. So I think, to me, a lot of people feel uncomfortable putting their face on everything and branding everything with them on it. I've worked for agencies like that before. They didn't want us to do it, didn't like themselves doing it. But I feel like that was one of the major milestones what did you ask me? One of the major marketing tips.
Yeah.
And just keeping on doing the same thing over and over and over. Sometimes I sit there and I go, why are we doing this? We haven't had any results from it. Why are we doing it? But we just keep doing everything. Like you said, it's a bit of everything. And you guys help me with that. Then some of the things we do with you guys, sometimes I still sit there and go, why are we still doing that? But we do it. And then all of a sudden you get a lead all of a sudden. It's like I think I told you the other day, that book generation thing that we're doing, and we've had so many books that were sent out, posted them out, dropped them off, whatever. And then the other day we actually got a listing from it. And I went, okay, this does work. It could work in the first week you do it. It could work in 6 months down the track when you do it. And once you get a lead from it, you go, this is a fairly simple sort of thing, and another way of getting a lead without being pushy, without knocking on doors, without ringing. So again, it's just putting your face out there, believing in yourself, and then making sure you do everything in the system that you sign up for, you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you hit the nail on the head there, where you said, often agents will do something, and if they don't get a result from it instantly, they'll go, oh, well, shit, that didn't work.
That didn't work. Yeah, exactly. One letterbox drop and it didn't work. I didn't get a listing. I'm not doing that again.
But I've just spent the last 2 weeks creating this magical flyer that I've, put out to my colleagues and my family and my mother, and I've asked them all what they think of it. They've all said it's great. I've had it mailed. Why isn't the phone ringing?
Yeah, exactly.
That is something that agents really need to hopefully make a shift from, that it isn't about one flyer. It isn't about one ad. It isn't about one phone call. It's about consistently doing the same thing over and over and over again. And as you experienced with the book, all of a sudden the phone does ring and go, hey, Joe, I got your book. Can you come and sell my house?
Yeah.
And, okay, now I get why we're doing that. Now I get it. And I know that Jodes has the same take on that as well. It'd be good to hear if she has an example to give us, but let's see if she can get her internet back in as well. So the next one's a bit of a fun question. What was your biggest, or has been your biggest, failure in real estate, and what did you learn from it? Well, even if there was there a lesson from your biggest failure?
Well, it's probably not a particular incident. It's just a mindset thing of mine when I started out in real estate and sales. It wasn't so much in other things I did. It was mainly sales. It was when I got a knockback on a listing, and I got called out for an appraisal, I'd worm my way in for an appraisal, and I didn't get the listing. I used to really take it on board, overanalyze it, worry about what I've said, done, why didn't I get it? I spent so much time dwelling on the fact I didn't get the listing. And then actually next time I'd go up against the same agent again, I almost taught myself out of being able to get the listings. I'd be thinking, I'm going up against them, so I'm not going to get it. there's this negative, it's like a negative mindset that I was struggling to get out of. And when I got a listing, it was like, hoo-hoo, but it was like a roller coaster ride with emotions. And I've had to learn how to curb that. And I think that comes with getting the volume of sales and listings, because you'd miss out on one here and there, which you're going to. No one gets 100% of their, the ones that they go out for. So the odd one I miss out on here and there, and quite often I know why I've missed out on it anyway. I know what I've done wrong. Sometimes you don't. But I just go, the old Fido principle. I'm not going to say it because there might be people who are offended with swearing, but you can imagine effort and drive on. And I just used to go on about it, and I'd moan about it, and I'd get upset about it. But I just don't anymore. I have switched off from that emotion. I get disappointed for 5 minutes when they go, oh, sorry, I've given it to someone else or whatever. Oh, that's no good. Well, I was looking forward to working with you, but if it doesn't work out, let me know. And I've actually never get upset with anybody when they don't give me their listing. I've never abused anybody. I know some agents do. They get really
antsy,
really angry and abuse people, but because it has turned around. Sometimes people have actually not gone with me. They're not been happy with who they did go with. They may sell with that person, but then they'll tell other people, look, I wouldn't go with the person I chose. I'd go with Joanne because she was really good. It's actually, just got to be always graceful about not getting the business, because it does, sometimes they'll buy off you. Even if they don't sell off you, they might, when they do sell, they come to you to buy because they know that you're a good egg sort of thing. You handled it well. But that's something it was a criticism of how I used to handle things back earlier in the day. Now I try not to get like that. I don't even have to think about it now, but I had to work on that. It was a failure or a weakness of mine.
Yep. Yeah, understand. Yep. So Jodes, I'm glad you're back. Let's hope we're good now.
Hey, Jodie.
So hi.
So Jo, I just asked Jo the next question, which is, what was your biggest failure in real estate? And Jo, the answer that you gave, Jo, I think it is absolutely important that agents somehow learn to manage their emotions, because again, it is an emotional industry. It is taxing on you. You're taxing on your self-value and your confidence. The industry can be like that, when you might lose one or two or three or four in a row, but then you get a few wins. And trying to manage your energy and your confidence and self-worth along the way does become something that agents do need to be totally conscious of. I totally agree with you. So Jodes, for you, what was your biggest failure in real estate? What did you learn from it?
Yeah, and I just caught the end of what Jo was saying there, and it is, I jokingly say I'm missing the rejection gene. Like you can't have it. You can't take things personally. You have to just, move on, build the bridge, and because it all just comes around. Like I had a very recent example, and I'd done an appraisal there a little while ago. And anyway, another agent's knocked on a door, and I've got the buyer for you, and the price was $740, and her mortgage broker had said, it's way too low. You need to call Jodie. What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Plus you don't have enough money for what you want to do. So she calls me and she said, oh, it's my fault because I told the agent $740. And I said, doesn't matter. Just go back. Tell him it's $800 now. She's like, I can't. Like we've said that. I said, it doesn't matter. And she said, well, don't you want to list? I said, well, I will. I said, but if you've got a buyer and they're on terms that you want and a settlement time frame, which isn't immediate, which a lot are at the moment, I said, just go back to them. And she's like, oh, I don't think I can because he always bullies me. He comes around. I said, just text only. Don't answer his calls. Don't do anything. And you say, the price is $800 and that's it. Yeah. And then she called me. She's like, oh, my God, we've got $800. But, she's now referred me. So I didn't get that deal, but she will tell everybody in her community, which is big. Already another of her friends has phoned. And so it's just, you can't just look at the short term. It's about doing the right thing, being an obligation. It's like, gosh, if you've got a buyer there, I'm not going to try and come in and, even though we should have listed on realestate.com and had a lot more, probably would have gone for well over at 800. But yeah, it is just about, you have to be missing that rejection gene. You can't get upset about things that you get and you don't, because you'll just tie yourself up in knots and get anxiety or something.
Yeah.
But in regard to failure, I don't use that word. I would never use that word in my vocabulary. It's things happen and they're, they're just learning episodes. Sometimes they can be done better. I sat hard and I thought, what have I failed at? And
I was
can't think of anything, and it's not because I haven't done things wrong. It's because I've never considered it a failure. Like it's not a failure. It's just something that didn't work out so well. So it's, again, sticking to that plan A. You just do something a bit differently to keep moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
I think I have the biggest challenges with the staff.
Keep bringing that up.
Maybe I should stop doing that. But
Before you want to go there.
That's that is the only thing. If I was like on my own, and my most successful years were, I can probably hear this, the good staff, the awesome ones.
For the ones you've got now, of course.
The team I've got now is awesome. Like, they really are. But, I've had agents working before, but we don't need to go there, which haven't been awesome at all.
Hope they're not watching
today. Time and effort gets put into it. My most successful years were just doing it on my own, listing and selling. And sometimes I fantasize about going back to that and just going and joining another agency and just doing it.
That'll work for me, Jodie.
Yeah, I will, actually. It's like an easy transition. I can keep all my pink clothes and
exactly.
stuff.
Yeah. I'll find you the best deal, okay? So I'm going to be your manager for when the
Okay. You can be my mamager.
Yeah.
And yes. Yeah, because it is a lot having your own business.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But so I wouldn't consider I've ever failed at anything. There's just stuff that I could have done better. And, you just learn from it and move on.
Definitely, I agree. And in fact, when I wrote that question down, and it's funny you say it, because when I used that word failure, I went, life is not full of failures. Life is just lessons. It's all it is.
It's just stuff. It's just stuff that happens. And it's like words, like, they carry so much weight, and people, it's like anxiety and depression. And bullying. I don't let those words exist in my household. My children aren't allowed to say those words. I'm like, and my son actually did. He'll probably not want me to tell you this, but last year he did have an episode where all of a sudden he said, nearly, it was like a knife to my heart. He said, Mum, I felt like I wanted to end my life, and I probably shouldn't be telling you this. And I'm like, what? And I'll never forget it. We were driving home in the car, and I was like, oh my God. He said, I think I'm suffering from depression. And I was like, fuck. And this is going on a whole tangent. I probably shouldn't have brought this up, but it just, like, it floored me, because my kids, and they're very into their sport and, doing stuff. And he just had this moment, and I was like, okay, so I'm like, depression's first he said, I'm feeling depressed. And I said, okay, depression's a pretty hard, full on word. We don't really use that word. Well, like, explain it to me. And he goes, I felt like I wanted to end my life. I was like, okay, fuck. All right, that's heavy. But, then we talk about it. I'm like, it's good, because it's your mind and your body talking to each other going, okay, something's not working and it's manifesting. So good. Let's not turn to drugs and alcohol. Let's work out what's not working and make a plan around it. And clearly I'm not a psychologist, and this is not advice, but, it's just, and now he talks and goes, oh God, remember when I had that feeling? I'm like, yeah. And look how awesome that your body and your mind worked in conjunction and went, shit, something's not working. And you talk to me about it. It's just, words like failure to me just carry way too much weight. Like, it's like, just don't have tenure, is my opinion in your life.
Yeah, I agree. You're a beautiful woman, Jodie Curran. I just want you to know that. So we are almost over time, but we'll just keep moving through. I'm sure everybody's happy to keep going here. Really wanted to just look at 2020. Obviously, it was a year that the industry was just like, oh my God, what do we do now? Obviously, we're now experiencing, and this is worldwide, this isn't just Australia, it's not just New Zealand, but worldwide, the real estate industry is going absolutely bananas. What I wanted to ask you, because when COVID hit, Glenn and I were bombarded by agents. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Or, oh, I'm going to shut down. Or, no, I don't want to do that now because it's COVID and I can't, and all that sort of thing. I know firsthand where your businesses were at the beginning of 2020 and where your businesses are at the beginning of 2021. I know what that 12,000 meant to you two with the growth of your business during that period of time. Share with us all what you did in 2020 when COVID hit. Jodes, maybe you first, given that we've got good internet connection with you at the moment.
Okay, cool. So we just kept doing the same thing. It's like, real estate's a really, really simple formula. You list and you sell. And it really doesn't need to be more complicated than that. So it was, and it was a little bit scary, I have to say. And I had, which probably some people would call anxiety, but I call a fluttery feeling that I'd never felt before. I'm like, oh my God, could that be anxiety? Is that what they're talking about? But I went, shit, all that is my body saying to me, make more fucking money. That's all you've got to do. And it's really, really easy. Just make more money and you'll stop feeling like this. So I'm not meaning to dismiss it. Again, I'm not a psychiatrist, but for my own way of thinking. And that's what I did. It's like, what do we need to do to make more money? And again, very, very fortunate on the Sunshine Coast. We didn't get shut down at all. Well, we did, but we could still do private inspections. So our work could carry on. And I'm so grateful for living where we are because we could just carry on. And you can't even compare what happened with us as to what happened in Melbourne. But if I was there and what I did here was just cool, the people that I know.
Yep.
How's it going? This is the market, and people were searching for information. And I guess I became that source of information for them. It's like, what's happening in the market? It's okay. We've still got buyers. So instead of trying to list and sell their property, I was more like a sounding board. So I was just touching base with people that I knew, past clients, people that are in the pipeline and just going, it's okay. There's still a market. We can still do this, this and this. And I just became more of, I guess, a sounding board in that way. And we were very quickly out of it.
Yeah, but don't you reckon that what you've just explained is what agents should be doing no matter what's happening in the marketplace?
Yeah, list and sell.
But shouldn't they also be creating themselves as the authority of
yes, absolutely
contacting people and talking to them and just saying to them, hey, even now, I mean, the market is nuts. People don't know what the hell is going on. They don't know where their property sits. They don't know anything. As agents, we should be doing exactly that even now. Like
absolutely. So again, in that time, I got on ABC radio. I got on TV because I called those people and said, I've got something to talk about.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it. So again, it's just do the same thing.
Yeah. And that's a strategy Glenn teaches. Ring them. Tell them you got something to say. They're always looking for articles. They're always
like I did it last night. We're sitting watching my son's football game and they start talking about the housing crisis on the Sunshine Coast. So I'm like, hi, it's Jodie Curran again. Got something to say. Do you think I'll take my call? And like, they don't even pause. And she's like, right, you're on. I'm like, oh, okay. And again, people call me, oh, I've heard you on the radio again last night. So you're just building those connections with people so you become the source.
Yeah, beautiful. And Jo, for you, Dale, I know what we did in
completely to the opposite to everyone else. Yeah. Well, I'm in agreement with Jodie there. I was getting people calling me and I was calling them just sort of, I suppose alleviating any concerns about the market. I mean, we really didn't know what was going to happen next, but you sort of had to try and make people feel comfortable about things. But it was a sliding door moment for me because I was working from home and I had a PA working for me and I was just about to start an office. Like I'd just ready to sign a lease on a shop and all systems were going. Then COVID sort of reared its ugly head. All the other agents were shutting up their shops, letting staff go. Well, not all other agents, but, they were deciding to work from home. Some of the agents were being put off, that sort of thing. Everything was coming to a bit of a standstill. I think people were thinking, I might have a bit of a holiday. Not Jo Reilly. No, she, I sort of did think momentarily, do I go with the shop or not? Maybe I can get out of it because of COVID, that sort of thing. Maybe I shouldn't have.
Or maybe we can negotiate a really good deal.
Yeah, maybe I hope he's not listening, my landlord. Maybe we can negotiate a good deal and go in there. I'm not going to get rid of my staff member because there's too much. Yeah, I need her. It's a short-term thing. I was just thinking this is only a short-term stumbling block sort of thing. So her and I used to hit the pavement and do our own letterbox drops. We'd wander around talking to people like Jodie, just being out there talking to people, not asking for business, not doing anything like that, just being a knowledgeable sort of person. What's the market doing? Yada, yada, yada. And then we did open the business and then I ended up putting another staff member on. And I think people saw that I weathered the storm, better than most in the area. And that's just taken me from strength to strength, But there's still, people are still calling me going, what's the market doing? What's the market doing? They see us as the go-to person.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's really, and look, I was big in your business last year, Jo, and that's exactly what happened. You saw COVID-19 as an opportunity to be able to bypass other agents and do things that everybody else wasn't doing. So while they were zigging, you were zagging, which is a Paul Tonich philosophy, that when they zig, you zag, which is exactly what you did. You opened the office, you negotiated incredible terms with your landlord for that. You brought in new staff members, the property management division started, all these things that you did in 2020, which just set you up for an incredible 2021. Like, the only two people that I know, and I'm sure there's more, but the two of you never say to me, oh, shit, geez, I've got to get some more listings. I've got no listings at the moment. That's just not, I mean, okay, we always could do with more listings, but it's not something that has hugely impacted you guys moving into 2021. So one more question. As a woman in real estate, what makes you proud? What makes you proud of being, even just proud of being a businesswoman as well? Like indulge yourself a little bit for me. Jodes, go. Yeah, go. Indulge. Toot your own horn for a little bit.
Who's going first?
Hey, Joe.
Go, Jodes.
Jode.
Go, Jodes.
You can go first.
Go, Jodes. Jodie Curran.
Jodie Curran can go first.
I'm not good at this.
I know.
And also, gosh, I'm just like the worst person to interview for this, because also I don't like that gender separation. Like, I know we are separate, but I see people, not genders. And I really don't, because I know sometimes there's kickback about who you've got on stage and stuff, but I'm like, I never see it like that. You're a person first, and what you're doing first, both in your personal life, your career, and your community. So I don't like to really have this gender thing, because there's plenty of single fathers out there. I wish there were a lot of single men though. There's a lot of single fathers out there do it the same. So I don't say it like, I even don't like that term, I'm a single mother, because it puts you in that place. It's just a single parent doing things. It's, just someone that's gone through some financial hardship, really. See, I'm not really good at answering that question.
I think I can answer it for you, and I just am incredibly proud of you, Jodes, and it has even been a lesson for myself, and I know probably hundreds, if not thousands, of women in real estate, is that at that moment when you had nothing, and you were in a very scary place, and you kind of went, F this, I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to back myself. I'm going to back myself financially. I'm going to back myself emotionally. And I'm just going to do this. Like, there is I'm not going to look back. I've made it, and you made the decision, and you did it, and you are where you are today. And I know that you might not be able to say the words that you're proud of yourself for that. So I'm going to say it for you, in that myself, Joe, Glenn, and many of us in the industry are very proud that you've achieved this, Jodes. It's incredible. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to see what the next 10, 20 years are going to be for Jodie Curran in real estate.
Thank you.
Joe, for you, Dale?
Yeah, I suppose my biggest achievement in life is having my children, watching them grow and mature, of course. I got my bronze medallion, I don't know how many years ago now. That was a big deal physically, a physical challenge. When I've ever challenged myself, I suppose I impress myself, because I don't realise I've got it in me sometimes. You sort of underestimate what you can do. Yeah. When I decided to start my own business, I suppose I'd never run a business before. I've been in management before, but never been responsible for really anything that was in the government, start my own business, hire people, be responsible for them, trust accounting, all that sort of thing. But I just gave it a go, and now it's just another achievement, I suppose, that you can hang your hat on and go, I'm glad I gave that a go, because I could be still sitting where I was before, not really that happy about my job, moaning about this, moaning about that. But instead of doing that, I just went, F it, I'm going to do this.
I'm going to grind it.
And what's the worst thing? When we talked about failure before, I remember Aaron Sansoni saying, if you're too scared of failure or too scared of making mistakes and you don't give it a go, you'll never know, you'll never learn. And so that stuck in my head, some of those things that he said. And, you've got to be prepared for failure. I mean, failure is a big word, but it's not so much failure, it's just making a mistake here and there. Some things can be huge, costly mistakes. I know he's talked about some of his stories. I haven't made anything like that yet, but I think you've got to be prepared to, what if I do make a mistake? What if I make the wrong decision about my flyers that I put out? Or what if I make the wrong decision about whatever? Everything can be used, most things can be remedied, and you learn from that and you grow, but you just can't sit there and go, I'm not going to do anything because, you know, everyone's telling me I shouldn't do this or shouldn't do that. Sometimes you just got to switch off from what other people tell you what to do and not to do and just follow your heart.
Yeah. And I think on that, I think more people are probably afraid of being successful than not, than being a failure. Like that's why they don't reach them. Personally, right. I do better when I'm on the ropes. When things are tough, like I come out fighting like it. COVID, bring it on. Let's go.
Yeah. Exactly.
The choice to fail or not fail is taken away from you when you're like that, Joe. It's like you know, it's you know, you just have to survive. That's part of it. So listen, I've got just some quick fire questions for you. So it's just one answer. So I'm going to ask the questions. It's just a bit of fun to finish off. So what I'll do is that I'll ask it, Joe, you answer, Joe, you answer. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Tea.
I knew that. I reckon I could answer these. Sports car or SUV?
Sports car.
SUV.
I know this one too. Gym or yoga?
Gym.
Yoga. We're lucky we're not on Married at First Sight, right?
Maybe we could work together, Jodie. We can compliment each other.
What could the next few years bring? I'll go and work for Joe.
Yeah, I reckon it's a good idea. I'll bring you up later.
All right, summer or winter?
Summer.
Summer.
Yeah, I knew that. Okay, is your tomato sauce in the pantry or the fridge?
Fridge.
Pantry.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Beach or bush? Beach or bush?
Beach.
Bush.
Favorite colour?
Favorite what?
Colour.
Blue.
Blue.
Blue and blue. Wow.
Even though you'd think it'd be hot pink, wouldn't you?
Mine's half hot pink and half blue.
Yeah.
So I've got blue, and so that blue behind is like the property management, but mine's blue and pink.
I thought you were both going to say pink, so that's right. I got that one wrong. All right, favorite drink? Alcoholic, non-alcoholic, whatever you want. Joe.
Drink.
Yeah.
Oh. I don't really have one. I like several different things. A nice glass of wine, probably.
Roads.
Water.
And last one, your favourite child? Just kidding. Don't have to answer that one.
You, Naomi, you.
I love it. Girls, thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure, and I know that there is some incredible information there for everybody. We will definitely, as soon as we're allowed to start doing, or as soon as we decide to start doing in-room events again, I definitely need to get you girls in there live. We might even try, and Glenn and I are sort of thinking about it, at the end of 2021, we might even do another Phenomenal Women, which we haven't done in a few years. So
that was good.
Yeah, that was a good event. We had lots of fun, and I think it's time we might roll that out. So thank you very, very much. I'll be giving you both a big cuddle right now.
Thank you too.
Thank you, and much love to you both. And Joe, we're talking next week, which is great.
Yep.
So thank you, girls.
Thank you guys for all your support too.
Yeah. Always.
Thanks, James.
See you, Jodie. Talk soon.
Okay, see you, Joe. Yeah, let's talk.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye. Well, I tell you what, that was amazing. So I just wanted to say thank you to Joe and Jodes, and thank you to everybody for tuning in for episode 32 of the Real Estate Renegades podcast. All the information will be down the bottom. Check your emails so that you can get a copy of it as well. Everybody have an incredible day out there in real estate today. Don't be afraid. I think that's a huge one to take away. Don't be afraid to back yourself. Have a great month, and let's hope that your week is full of listings, full of sales, lots of smiles, lots of laughter, and we will catch you next on the next Real Estate Renegades podcast. Bye for now.
Wow. Well, there you go. I hope you liked the episode. If you liked that, then what you need to do is you need to subscribe. You need to get more of this craziness, because we got more are coming. I'm never standing still, and we've got so many more guests. We've got so many more strategies, more out-of-the-box thinking. So if you haven't subscribed, literally, you're like throwing away thousands of dollars. Because I tell you, if you haven't subscribed, you don't come back. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find you, I'm going to market to you, and I'm going to charge you for the very stuff that on this podcast we give away for free. So whack that subscribe button on whatever your favourite podcast weapon of destruction is, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.